You have great taste, especially with your radio choice. Thank you for spending a little time with Gary and Bristol on Kiss Country 93.7.
Luke Bryan, love you, miss you, mean it. It's Kiss Country 93.7, Gary and Bristol. Hurricane Milton, the big news right now, still churning out there in the Gulf of Mexico, threatening Florida's coast. According to the National Hurricane Center, they are closely monitoring the storm's path and strength. Intensified yesterday, became a Category 5 with winds topping out at 180 miles an hour. And by last night, had dropped to a Category 4. They say that the wind was still whipping at an intense 155 miles an hour. According to the National Hurricane Center, Milton continues to pose an extremely serious threat to Florida. They say that models can change a lot in the next couple of days, but officials say that direct impacts are expected in the Tampa area. I just read that Tampa Bay has not been hit directly with a hurricane since 1921. So it's been over 100 years. They say that could all change tomorrow. Milton is expected to start turning east-northeast, and on the current forecast will move just north of the Yucatan Peninsula today and start closing in on Florida's coast tomorrow. They say landfall is expected tomorrow night as an extremely dangerous hurricane. So if you got friends or family in that area, might want to check with them, offer place to come stay, get out of the path of that. We'll keep you posted as we get more info, and of course, we'll keep all this information for you there on the Kiss Country app. Bye. Carrie Underwood, it's Kiss Country 93.7, Gary and Bristol. You heard those NFL players singing the Sunday Night Live.
The stadium is rocking. Time to crank up the sign.
The NFL's best have come to play.
That'll make your ears bleed. I am so sorry. It is Gary and Bristol. Thank you so much for letting us wake up with you. Don't forget now, 7:15 with Ticket Trivia. We got Piney Park passes, a whole 4-pack of those. Fall Festival's going on right now. And we got good news, kind of sort of good news, and then bad news for anybody that lives like in South Bossier, South Shreveport, that normally uses the Jimmy Davis Bridge. Late yesterday, they said, okay, we had the lane closure announced for Thursday night. They were going to be doing some work there, and they said, okay, the westbound lane of the Jimmy Davis Bridge is going to be closed. You will be able to travel across the bridge, but there's going to be flaggers and da-da-da. And then they sent an announcement that said, hey, we've had to postpone that. We're canceling that, and we'll reschedule. We'll let you know when it's coming. So it's like, okay, everything coast is clear. And then, bam, within just minutes, we get another announcement from the DOTD. Oh, by the way, there will be another lane closure this Sunday, and this is going to be during the daylight hours, 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. this Sunday. Eastbound lane of the Jimmy Davis Bridge going to be closed. They're doing a routine bridge inspection. Now, I don't know if that means that, immediately following that, they'll have another lane closure so they can do the westbound side or what, but this Sunday evening, 7 to 7, yes, it's not a total bridge closure. You'll be able to cross, but they're going to have flagging and stuff like that, and it's all day Sunday. 7A to 7P. Might want to avoid the Jimmy Davis Bridge. That's this Sunday.
911, what's your emergency?
It's Gary in Bristol. If you're not having fun yet, you might need someone to call 911 for you. Kiss Country 93.7.
Kiss Country 93.7. Won't be long. We'll be milking the old Kiss Cash Cow again. Bessie's loaded, ready to go. First Kiss Cash Cow code at 8:20 this morning. And we do that every hour. 8:20, 9:20, 10:20, 11:20, all the way through 5:20. And each one of those codes gives you another entry into the contest and went up to $30,000. So, even if you haven't played before now, you're still in. I mean, you can play each and every time that we give one of the codes. And the one that we give at 8:20 might be the one that wins you that money. So make sure you're listening for all of those. If you haven't downloaded the Kiss Country app, get that done. Oh, and we just got word from Caddo Parish. I knew this was coming. We mentioned a minute ago just how nice the weather is. What's not in the weather forecast is any kind of a rain. And Caddo Parish has announced a burn ban. They say outdoor burning is prohibited until further notice in all of Caddo Parish. Made the declaration after consulting with all the fire chiefs in the area. They say the ban is in place because of dry conditions and no significant rainfall predicted, along with low humidity and breezy conditions. All of those factors contribute to fast-moving grass and woods fires. Burn ban is effective today for all of Caddo. And even though we haven't gotten any kind of official notification from Bossier or Webster or DeSoto, Red River parishes, or any of the East Texas counties, you know it's coming. I mean, I looked at the long term. It doesn't look like we got a drop of rain anytime before the end of the month. So, even if there's not a burn ban issued, you might want to think twice before you set any kind of an outdoor fire. But for sure, in Caddo Parish, it's a no-go completely.
Hello.
Got something to tell Gary in Bristol? Call them at 725-KISS, or you can leave them a voicemail on the Kiss Country app. It's Kiss Country 93.7.
Shreveport Bossier's number one for new country. It's Kiss Country 93.7. Gary in Bristol, and there's no car lines this morning. Kids are all out of school this week. Fall break.
Oh, my gosh. I want a fall break.
No doubt. I mean, I mentioned this a little while ago. I mean, when I was a kid, fall break was Thanksgiving.
Right.
And we got like Thursday and Friday. Bam, that's it. Go back to school.
We just stayed kids forever.
Yes. Okay, the kids are out of school for fall, but maybe they're playing from home today.
Maybe.
We do have a family 4-pack of passes for Piney Park, the big fall festival that's going on now. Yesterday's question, if you missed out on the answer, this household item contains an average of 10 million germs.
You got especially queasy on this one.
It's your toothbrush.
Yeah, you turned all kinds of green.
Yeah, but I didn't say, what'd you call it? A fecal bloom? Fecal flume.
Fecal plume.
Plume, yeah.
Yeah.
They say that if you flush the potty and your toothbrush is there in the little toothbrush holder on the side of the sink, that stuff comes out of the potty when you flush it and it gets on your toothbrush.
That's why you should close the lid.
Explains why some people have bad breath, huh?
Plume.
Well, I brushed my teeth. Yeah, but
indeed. All right, here is today's Ticket Trivia question. Crayons are the most common things that kids stick up their nose. We want to know what's second on that list.
My dad had to go to the hospital when he was a little boy. He stuck a China berry up his nose.
Oh, gosh.
And I mean, it got like really lodged.
It's like their nose and their ears.
Yeah.
It's what the heck.
It isn't a China berry.
Crayons are the most common thing that kids will stick up their nose. We want to know what is second on that list. 725-5477, 725-KISS.
Bradley Gilbert, bottoms up, Kiss Country 93.7. Gary and Bristol, just keeping you company, making that drive into work this morning.
Mm-hmm.
And, right before Bradley Gilbert there with Bottoms Up, we had Justin Moore, This Is My Dirt.
Yes.
And, that song means so much to so many because at one time, we had a whole lot of farmland in this part of the world. You remember the days when, anything out around LSUS, anything in North Bossier was nothing but cotton fields.
Yeah, cotton and soy. And I got to tell you, even, 11, 12 years ago when we were making the move to go live out by my mother on the farm in the Princeton area, we couldn't find land. You want to know why?
Nobody'd sell it.
Because it was family land, had been in that family for generations. And even though they weren't currently using it, had no plans for it, it was bought and paid for. And it was part of their family legacy. They weren't parting with it.
And tough times make people do things that they wouldn't normally do. Mm-hmm. And so all of a sudden, that land that was once cotton farmer or cotton fields is now apartment complexes.
Yeah.
And things like that, shopping centers. I mean, there's stores, there's a car wash where we used to go in to go deer hunting on Airline Drive.
Isn't that amazing?
And I'm like, dude, this has changed so much. But there are certain things that no matter how tough times get, you're just not going to sell. And you mentioned something yesterday, being your daddy's watch. Does it, there's a sentimental value that goes with everything. But does it mean that even with that watch, though it's got a certain value, is it totally priceless? I mean, even if you were like destitute, you're going to be dumpster diving.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Still going to have that watch.
Absolutely. Now, my brother has my dad's watch. Now,
okay.
I have some jewelry that he purchased when he was in the military overseas.
Yeah.
Like Toledo gold from Toledo, Spain. Items like that I would never give up for love nor money.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, the family Bible from his side of the family. I have that. And ain't nobody else getting that.
I've got the guitar that my brother had before he got killed in an automobile accident. And, I look at that. It's probably not worth $200.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, it's worth $1 million.
Oh,
you couldn't buy it.
It represents your brother buddy.
My dad made sure that I got. My grandfather was a KCS railroad engineer, and railroad engineers, their thing was a stopwatch, a pocket watch, and I've got that, and you couldn't buy it. I don't care how poor I got or how much poorer I get. That watch is always going to be mine. There's just certain things that, like that ground that Justin Moore talks about. This is my dirt. This is where these things have happened. That's why this is never going to be for sale. There's certain things you just wouldn't part with.
Mm-hmm.
What you got that no matter what, I'm telling you right now, I'll start eating cat food before I'll sell what? What is it? 725-5477, 725-KISS.
Stick around. Just 15 more minutes. You won't believe what these two are going to do next. It's Gary and Bristol on Kiss Country 93.7.
There's Luke Bryan. Someone else calling you, baby. Kiss Country 93.7. It's Gary and Bristol. And you know what? Justin Moore's song, This Is My Dirt, it brings out the sentimentality in all of us.
Absolutely.
Because he says, my grandfather bought this land for like $100 an acre. And he says, him and his brother built that frame house over there, and these things all happened on this land. So, no, this is not for sale. I know you're trying to build a neighborhood, but you can't buy it. You can't buy this. There won't be a neighborhood here.
This is where I built my first fort.
Yeah. And you know what? I think back to things that over the years you would have never dreamed would mean something, but like, my house got broken into about 30 years ago. And, it wasn't that. It was about 25 years ago, because one of the things they took was the set of clothes that my son Craig was wearing when we brought him home from the hospital. They stole from us that memory.
How rude.
Oh, dude. It was incredible.
And it was probably in a keepsake box and everything.
Also, when my house got robbed, was my first gun that my mom and dad had given me. I was 14 years old when it was like, it was my second gun, but it was my first rifle.
Yeah.
And it's gone. I would have never sold that in a million years.
Right.
And, you've got stuff that comes along in your life that might not mean anything to anybody else, but to you, it means the world.
Right.
It ain't for sale.
I have some of my show clothes from when I was a kid. I'm going to tell you one piece, the thing that's not for sale. I still have my first Western saddle.
Wow.
And it's so adorable. Like, I can't tell you how many kids have had their first ride on that saddle now. Yeah, I mean, it will, and, it'll never go. I mean, no, it's, that's going to be
that
hard.
Will die with you.
Yes.
Yeah. So what about you? Do you have anything that no matter how tough times get, you would never sell?
Yes, my grandmother's ring. They were married in 1924. My grandfather probably paid $150 for it, and it's priceless now.
Wow.
It's like gold. Yeah, it's 100 years old.
Wow. Yeah, I get that. And I'm going to tell you, it wouldn't matter if it was $150,000. You probably, I don't know, for $150,000, be like, you know what? I'll take a picture of it and put it in an album.
Nothing puts the good in your morning like Gary and Bristol on Kiss Country 93.
Dustin Lynch, Mackenzie Porter, thinking about you. Kiss Country 93.7, Gary and Bristol. I was just thinking about deer hunting.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. You know, the bow hunters, they're hogging the woods right now. All the archers here in Area 2, they've had their turn since October 1.
I feel like archery is going to be like second biggest to just regular gun season now. You know, it seems like they start with the smallest and then work their way up to the biggest. Okay, hear me out.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm all ears.
I feel like they should start with the primitive weapons now and then go to archery because that's the next biggest group. And then the veterans and kids and then full-on deer season.
Well, you know, the head of Louisiana Department of Wildlife and Fisheries is now a girl. So she could probably understand your logic. That's like that girl logic thing.
Well, I feel like we dip our toe into the deer hunting water.
Yeah.
And then we let the next biggest group in there.
Yeah.
And then we let the next biggest group in there.
Okay.
Hey, well, what's the thought process behind it?
I just told you it's a girl in charge.
Stop it. I mean, archery is just so big. I was just seeing over the weekend, one of my longest, dearest, oldest friends, her little girl just made the archery team at Benton Middle.
Yeah.
And I'm loving how many young ladies are getting involved.
And they're really good.
Yes.
You know, traditionally speaking, even with a gun, a woman is a better shot than a guy.
Really?
Yes. On average, women just, I guess their hands aren't as shaky or something along those lines.
Huh.
But when it comes to being a natural born killer, it's usually a dude. You know, I mean, we get up there in that deer stand. That's all we're thinking about, you know. And for a woman, she's like,
I don't think I can do it.
you know, my wife went once, and that was it. Period.
You know, I mean, it's...
Okay, now listen, I want to quit chasing squirrels. I want to mention the fact that it is bow season right now, but Saturday, it's the season for youth and veterans. And they've got a whole week. If you are a veteran and you got your DD 214 and all that stuff, you're going to have it on you. But kids 17 and under and those veterans get to start hunting this Saturday and they go all the way through Friday. And the weird part is normally they do the whole week when kids are out on fall break, and it just didn't line up that way this year because kids are out on fall break now.
Oh,
And, you know, normally they would get to hunt pretty much every day, but that's just not how it's working.
It's because there's a woman in charge now.
Yeah, well, I didn't say it this time.
I did.
Next Saturday, the 19th, that's when it's primitive weapon season, like you said. And then the following week, I mean, every day.
Oh my gosh, there's like drool coming
We're
out.
gonna play 30 Point Buck.
Oh no, not again.
October the 26th, it happens. So that week leading up to it, yeah. A 30 Point Buck. It's coming. Yes.
It's the sound in the background.
Yeah. All right. So if you've got a youth or you are a veteran and this is your first time to get to enjoy that privilege, look in your Kiss Country app, all the rules, everything you need to know, because there's a lot of stuff. It is Louisiana. It comes with red tape.
Yes, and it is the real rules, not the made up stuff by me.
Yeah. So just take a look and it'll get you in the know.
Ready for some moolah? Yeah. Here's this hour's Kiss Cash Cow Code.
All right, open up that free Kiss Country app and put this in the spot for code number 1 of the day. It's 604. That's 604. Make sure you get that done by midnight tonight for your chance to win up to $30,000. Your next Kiss Cash Cow Code, easy for me to see. Kiss Cash Cow Code.
Yeah, that's the one.
Kiss Cash Cow Code coming your way at 9:20.
Kiss Country 93.7 with a staff full of professional pronouncers.
Almost as important as your morning coffee. It's Gary and Bristol, only on Kiss Country 93.7.
That's Luke Bryan. Love you, miss you, mean it. Kiss Country 93.7 is Gary and Bristol. There was a preacher, and I don't remember who it was, but he was here locally. And he preached a sermon one morning about marriage and, you know, the problems that we have. And some are unique to that particular marriage. Some are, you know, like finances and kids and stuff like that, predictable stuff. But he preached that it was, and this thing isn't even available anymore, I don't think. I don't think anybody's got it. He said the pump toothpaste had saved his marriage.
Okay.
He said, my wife is one of those weirdo, just grab the tube of toothpaste and squeeze it from the middle kind of people. And he says, it was driving me crazy because I'm one of those little anal people that, rolls it up from the end, gets every last little bit of toothpaste out of there. And he said, we didn't fight about anything except the blasted toothpaste.
I mean, you got to keep your priorities straight.
Well, a new poll, and I can't believe they had 30,000 people that responded to this. But that's how many they talked to. Wanted to know how they squeeze a tube of toothpaste. 72% said from the bottom to the top. 20% say they squeeze the toothpaste out from the top, which is kind of like that middle thing.
Okay.
You ever argue with somebody over toothpaste?
No. I mean, get your spit out of the bottom of the bowl, sure.
Oh, yeah.
Ew, but I can't say I've argued with anybody over whether or not they squeeze from the bottom or not.
Okay, tomorrow morning. Have you ever argued with someone over something as trivial as a tube of toothpaste? I mean, has it gotten down? Because you said one time, sometimes the argument isn't the argument. Mm-hmm. There's like an underlying discussion. Oh, by the way, you found out he's cheating on you, but he squeezes the tube of toothpaste wrong, so that's what I'm going to kill him over.
Right. It was the straw that broke the camel's back.
Yeah. So have you ever had, that moment where, you thought you were going to stab him with a spork because he squeezes the toothpaste wrong. We'll find out what you got. Get up early with us tomorrow morning. Kiss Country 93.7.
They tested positive, but not in a good way.
Careful. These two have proven to be highly contagious. It's Gary and Bristol on Kiss Country 93.7.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group, has put together a free information guide that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Get your free guide at iCancelTimeshare.com. That's iCancelTimeshare.com. iCancelTimeshare.com.